In the quiet sprawl of Boise, Idaho, under the amber glow of a July sunset, Emma Harper stood on the cracked porch of her childhood home, clutching a suitcase that held her entire world. At 18, she was leaving behind a house that had never felt like home, a place where love was rationed. And she was always last in line. Born just 4 minutes before her twin sister, Chloe, Emma had spent her life in the shadow of favoritism, a silent runner-up in her own story. But this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a journey that would take her from the margins of her family's affection to the spotlight of her own making, a story of grit, defiance, and a heart that refused to break. The Harper house on Maple Street was a postcard of suburban America, white picket fence, a basketball hoop rusting in the driveway, and a backyard swing set creaking in the breeze. But inside, the air was thick with unspoken rules. Emma and Chloe, identical twins with hazel eyes and chestnut hair, were as different as fire and frost. Chloe was their mother Linda's mini-me, soft-spoken, graceful, always dressed in pastel dresses that matched her charm. Emma, on the other hand, was too bold, too stubborn, too much, as Linda often sighed to her book club friends. Those 4 minutes of seniority made Emma the big sister, a title that came with responsibility but no reward. As kids, the favoritism was blatant. On their 8th birthday, Chloe got a princess-themed party with a piñata and a glittery cake, while Emma was handed a broom to sweep up the confetti. When she asked why, Linda's smile was sharp. "You're the older one, Emma. Don't be selfish, share." The words stung, but Emma swallowed them, learning early to hide her hurt. Chloe got the best toys, a dollhouse, a sparkly bike, while Emma made do with hand-me-downs. At dinner, Chloe's plate always had the juiciest chicken. Emma got the scraps. When Emma aced a math test, Linda barely glanced at the report card. But when Chloe got a B in English, Linda called every relative to brag. Their father, Michael, a reserved mechanic who hid behind his newspaper, was no better. He doted on Chloe, calling her my little star, and driving her to dance classes in his pickup truck. Emma, who loved sketching, rode her bike 3 miles to art lessons alone. Once, she asked why he never came to her art shows. Michael looked up, tired. "You're already good, Emma. You don't need me there." It sounded like praise, but it felt like abandonment. The only person who truly saw Emma was her grandmother, Ruth, with her warm laugh and flour-dusted aprons. Ruth was Emma's sanctuary. She taught Emma how to mix paints, her hands guiding Emma's over the canvas. "You're like me, Emma," Ruth said, her eyes twinkling. "Folks don't notice you at first, but when they do, they can't look away." Ruth's words were a lifeline, a promise Emma clung to when the world felt unfair. By high school, Emma understood the truth. She wasn't clumsy or unworthy. She was simply unseen. Linda's dismissals, "Why can't you smile like Chloe?" and Michael's silence taught her to rely on herself. She patched her own jeans, did her homework in the quiet of her room, and buried her tears. But the final blow came at 18, when Linda and Michael sat her down. "The college fund can only cover one of you," they said, eyes fixed on the table. "Chloe's going to Boise State. You're strong, Emma. You'll figure it out." No apology, no regret, just a verdict that shattered Emma's last hope of fairness. With $250, a duffel bag of worn clothes, and Ruth's old laptop, Emma left. She rented a closet-sized room near a community college, its peeling blue walls and creaky floors a far cry from the Harper house. But for the first time, Emma felt free, no judgment, no comparisons, just the chance to be herself. Emma threw herself into survival. By day, she studied graphic design at the community college, her fingers smudged with charcoal from late-night sketches. By night, she worked as a cashier at a 24/7 gas station, her eyes heavy but her resolve unbreakable. Some nights, exhaustion won, and she dozed off at the register. But she never complained. She had no safety net, no family to call, only her dreams and a stubborn refusal to fail. Emma's work ethic was relentless. Every project, she went beyond the assignment, staying up to perfect every pixel. Her professors noticed. "You've got an eye for storytelling," one said. handing back a poster design. It was the first time anyone had praised her without a caveat. Emma held onto those words, letting them fuel her. In her second year, her persistence paid off. She won a full-ride scholarship to a top university in Portland, Oregon, covering tuition and a small living stipend. The email arrived during a shift at the gas station, and Emma's hands shook as she read it. For the first time, she could quit her night job and sleep through the night. She texted Linda, "I got a full scholarship to Portland." 2 days later, Linda replied, "Nice. Chloe just joined a sorority. She's thriving." The dismissal hurt, but Emma was learning to let go. She wasn't chasing their approval anymore. Portland was a new world, vibrant, rainy, alive with coffee shops and street art. But it came with a twist. Chloe enrolled at the same university, studying marketing while Emma pursued visual communications. Chloe lived in a sleek dorm, funded by Linda and Michael, her wardrobe full of designer jeans. Emma took a bus from a rundown apartment, juggling 3 jobs, waitressing, cleaning campus labs, and freelancing online. Their paths crossed in lecture halls, Chloe's laughter echoing while Emma stayed quiet, her patched jacket a stark contrast to Chloe's polish. In a group project for a communications class, Emma pitched a bold campaign blending animation and social impact. Chloe scoffed, "It's cool, but too complicated. Let's do a trendy influencer vibe, simple, viral." The group sided with Chloe, and Emma, hating conflict, agreed. She ended up designing the visuals, editing videos, and perfecting the campaign while Chloe made PowerPoint slides. After the presentation, their professor emailed Emma, "You carried this project. You're a leader, but you need to own it." The words were a wake-up call. Emma had been hiding, but she was ready to step forward. Emma's star began to rise. She won first place in a statewide art competition, her painting praised by a renowned judge for its raw, instinctive power. She brought the canvas home, hoping for a reaction. Linda glanced at it. "So, you're gonna be a broke artist? That's not a career." A week later, Chloe posted a doodle online captioned, "My art era." Linda framed it and hung it in the living room. Emma faked a smile, but inside, she vowed to stop seeking their validation. Her professors saw what her family couldn't. Dr. Karen Ellis, a tough but fair mentor, told her, "Emma, you're a visual storyteller. That's rare." Those words lit a fire. Emma poured herself into her art, sharing it on design forums. To her shock, a national art magazine featured her in their Rising Stars issue. She sent the link to Linda. 3 weeks later, Linda texted, "Too long. Didn't read. Chloe's new vlog is blowing up." Emma felt nothing, not anger, just clarity. Their silence no longer defined her. At 20, Emma's life shifted again. She applied for the prestigious Lincoln Grant, a scholarship for creative leaders. Dr. Ellis wrote her recommendation. And after grueling interviews, Emma won, not just the grant but a 3-month internship in Los Angeles. The news came while she was sketching in her tiny apartment. She didn't call Linda or Michael. Instead, she emailed Dr. Ellis, "Thank you. I won't let you down." For the first time, Emma felt worthy, not because of her family, but because of herself. Los Angeles was a whirlwind of palm trees, neon signs, and ambition. Emma interned at a creative agency, her designs appearing in educational campaigns across the city. She thrived, her confidence growing with every critique and revision. Back in Portland, Chloe's social media fame soared, her posts about fashion and yoga racking up thousands of likes. Linda and Michael boasted to neighbors about Chloe's brand, while Emma's achievements went unmentioned. Then came the Lincoln Grant ceremony in New York City. Emma flew in, wearing a borrowed black dress, her heart pounding as she stepped into a glittering hall of scholars and executives. When her name was called as the Inspirational Leader of the Year, the room erupted in applause. Emma Harper, the host said, overcame financial and personal barriers with unmatched determination. Emma accepted the award, her voice steady as she spoke about resilience. She didn't need her family in the audience. This was her moment. Backstage, she met Rachel Torres, a creative director at a major media firm. "I've seen your work," Rachel said. We want you in our mentorship program, full support. No strings. Emma's breath caught. This was more than a job, it was a future. Her speech went viral, shared thousands of times. Linda texted. Saw your video. You were confident. Michael watched. Too. Maybe we didn't get you. It was the closest they'd come to an apology. Chloe called. Her voice soft. I didn't know you were that good. I'm sorry for underestimating you. Emma replied. Thanks. Chloe. Find something that's yours, not theirs. The call ended, and Emma felt no bitterness, just peace. Emma moved to New York, settling into a cozy Brooklyn apartment. She joined Rachel's team as a junior art director, her designs lighting up Times Square billboards. Life was fast, but Emma loved it. The subway's hum, the street vendors' calls, the pulse of a city that never judged her past. She kept in touch with her family, but the connection was distant. Linda sent holiday texts. Emma replied politely. Chloe, now in Seattle, shared updates about her new job as a wellness coach. Once, she texted, remember that chili you made? I miss it. Emma smiled, replying, still got the recipe. It wasn't reconciliation, but it was enough. At 26, Emma celebrated her birthday alone with coffee and a croissant, the morning sun warming her apartment. She journaled her gratitude, a smooth commute, a kind coworker, the stray cat at her window. Happiness, she realized, was in the small things. She hung a frame on her wall, a quote in her handwriting. You are enough. Always were, always will be. One evening, Linda called, inviting her to Boise for dinner. Emma went, curious but guarded. The house hadn't changed, same plaid sofa, same tilted family photo. Linda's eyes were softer, Michael's less distant. We weren't fair, Linda said. We thought you'd always be fine. Emma didn't flinch. I wanted to be weak sometimes, too, she said, but I don't need that now. I've built my own life. Chloe, listening from the stairs, admitted, you make it hard. Emma, they compare me to you now. Emma's reply was gentle, live for you. Chloe, not them. In New York, Emma found her tribe, friends who'd fought their own battles, who saw her for who she was. She cooked, painted, visited galleries, and lived without apology. Her family faded to a soft obligation, no longer the center of her world. Linda mentioned Emma's work with pride once, but Emma didn't need it. She'd found love within herself. One spring morning, sketching in her apartment, Emma realized she was free, not from her past, but because of it. She'd turned pain into power, building a life from broken pieces. Her story wasn't about revenge or resentment. It was about a girl who refused to stay invisible, who proved that worth isn't given, it's claimed. Emma Harper, once the overlooked twin, was now just Emma, artist, survivor, and enough. In the city that never sleeps. She'd finally woken up in the rain-soaked streets of Portland, Oregon, where coffee shops glowed like beacons and street musicians strummed under neon signs. Emma Harper was fighting to carve her place in a world that had never made room for her. A junior at a prestigious university, she was no longer the overlooked twin from Boise, Idaho, but the ghost of her sister Chloe's shadow still haunted her. 4 minutes older, Emma had spent her life paying for those fleeting seconds with invisibility. Now, in the crucible of college, she was about to face Chloe head-on, not with anger, but with a quiet strength that would rewrite her story. This is the tale of how Emma rose, not to outshine her sister, but to claim the spotlight she'd always deserved. Portland's campus was a maze of brick buildings and cherry blossoms, a place where dreams were born or buried. Emma, studying visual communications, navigated it with a patched backpack and a bus pass. Her days a blur of classes, waitressing at a dive bar, and cleaning lecture halls before dawn. Her tiny apartment, a 5th-floor walk-up with a leaky faucet, was her sanctuary, furnished with thrift store finds and her own sketches pinned to the walls. Meanwhile, Chloe, majoring in marketing, glided through the same campus in a bubble of privilege, funded by their parents, Linda and Michael. She lived in a glossy dorm with hardwood floors and a private balcony. Her closet stuffed with Nordstrom bags. Chloe's Instagram was a curated dream, sunlit selfies, yoga poses, and latte art, racking up thousands of followers. Linda called her a natural influencer. While Emma's late-night designs went unnoticed at home, the sisters' paths collided in a group project for a visual communications course. A high-stakes assignment to pitch a campaign for a local nonprofit. Emma, her mind buzzing with ideas, suggested a bold concept, an animated video series highlighting community resilience. Paired with interactive murals, she'd spent weeks sketching prototypes, her fingers stained with marker ink. Chloe, flipping her hair, laughed dismissively. That's super artsy. Emma, but it's a lot. Let's do a TikTok-friendly vibe, bright, trendy, maybe a dance challenge. The group, charmed by Chloe's confidence, nodded along. Emma's heart sank, but she bit her tongue. Conflict wasn't her style. She'd learned long ago that speaking up in her family meant being ignored. So, Emma worked in the shadows. She designed the campaign's visuals, animated the videos, and coded the interactive elements, staying up until 3 a.m. while Chloe crafted a glossy slideshow and rehearsed her pitch. On presentation day, Chloe stood at the front, her voice smooth as she sold the group's idea. The professor, Dr. Patel, a sharp-eyed woman with a reputation for spotting talent, gave the team an A later. She emailed Emma, "Your work was the backbone of this project. You're a leader, but you need to stop hiding. Own your vision." Emma read the message under the dim light of her desk lamp, her chest tight. For the first time, she saw herself not as Chloe's foil, but as a force of her own. Chloe's star continued to rise. She ran the campus fashion club, organized charity 5 seconds, and posted vlogs that Linda shared with every aunt and cousin. Chloe's building her brand, Michael boasted at Thanksgiving, while Emma's name barely came up. But Emma chose a different path. She let her work speak. Her designs won campus contests. Her animations caught the eye of local galleries. She wasn't chasing likes or applause. She was chasing freedom from the weight of being less than. Emma's life changed on a crisp March morning, when an email from the Lincoln Grant Committee arrived. She'd applied for the prestigious scholarship on a whim, urged by Dr. Patel, who'd written her a glowing recommendation. The subject line read, "Congratulations, Emma Harper." She'd won, not just the grant, but one of 5 national spots, including a 3-month internship in Los Angeles. Her hands trembled as she read the details, the words blurring through tears. This wasn't luck, it was every late night, every rejected idea, every moment she'd refused to quit. The grant wasn't all. At the New York City Awards ceremony, Emma, in a borrowed navy dress, stood under a chandelier-lit ballroom as her name echoed again. Emma Harper, Inspirational Leader of the Year. The host announced, for overcoming extraordinary barriers with relentless drive. The crowd rose, their applause a roar that drowned out years of silence. Emma's speech, about turning pain into purpose, left the room hushed. Then erupted again. Backstage, Rachel Torres, a creative director at a top media firm, approached her. "Your portfolio is phenomenal," Rachel said, her handshake firm. "Join our mentorship program in New York. We'll cover your expenses so you can focus on your craft." Emma nodded, her throat tight. This was her turning point. The speech went viral, shared across X and LinkedIn, with comments calling her a voice for the underdog. Linda texted, "Watched your video. You spoke well. Michael says maybe we didn't see you right." It was a half step, not an apology, but Emma didn't need one. Chloe called, her voice hesitant. "I saw the speech. I didn't realize how talented you are. I'm sorry for always acting like you weren't." Emma paused, then said, "Thanks, Chloe. Find something that's yours, not mom and dad's." The call ended, and Emma felt a weight lift, not forgiveness, but release. Weeks later, Linda called, her voice softer than Emma remembered. "Come home for dinner," she said. "Just us. Something cozy." Emma hesitated, then agreed, driven by curiosity, not hope. The Boise house was unchanged, same creaky porch, same faded couch. Linda's eyes were cautious, Michael's less guarded. Chloe sat on the stairs, watching silently. Dinner was polite, talk of neighbors, Chloe's new marketing class, until Linda cleared her throat. "We need to talk." she said. We weren't fair to you. Emma, we thought you'd always be okay. Emma's fork stilled. She looked at them, her voice steady but raw. You told me I was strong. But I wanted to be fragile sometimes. I wanted you to ask if I was tired. If I was okay. You never did. I built my life without you. And I don't need your approval now. Michael looked away, shame flickering. Linda's eyes reddened. You're still our daughter, she said. Can we try again? Emma's smile was bittersweet. Maybe. But I have boundaries now. I won't chase love that doesn't meet me halfway. Chloe spoke up, her voice small. You've made it harder. Emma, Mom and Dad compare me to you now. I'll never measure up. Emma met her gaze. I didn't do this to outshine you, she said. I just lived the life I deserved. You can, too. But not by waiting for their praise. Chloe nodded, silent, and Emma saw a flicker of understanding. The dinner ended, and Emma left, the Idaho night cool against her skin. She wasn't angry or hurt, just free. Emma moved to New York, her suitcase rattling along Brooklyn's cobblestone streets. Her apartment, a sunlit nook with exposed brick, was hers alone. She joined Rachel's team as a junior art director, her designs flashing across Times Square screens. New York was loud, honking taxis, subway rumbles, but to Emma, it was a symphony of possibility. She cooked chili on Sundays, hung her artwork, and built friendships with dreamers who'd clawed their way up. Just like her. Linda sent occasional texts, health updates, holiday wishes. Emma replied, polite but distant. Chloe, now in Seattle, shared snippets of her life, a new wellness coaching job, a photo of her teaching yoga. Once, she wrote, I tried your chili recipe. It's still the best. Emma sent a heart emoji. No need for more. Their bond wasn't deep, but it was honest. At 26, Emma woke on her birthday to sunlight spilling across her desk. She sipped coffee, ate a bagel, and journaled, grateful for the barista who knows my order, for Rachel's feedback, for the pigeon that visits my sill. Happiness, she'd learned, was in the details. She hung a frame in her living room, her handwriting bold. You are enough. Always were. Always will be. Emma's story isn't about revenge or triumph over Chloe. It's about a girl who refused to stay unseen, who built a life from scraps and scars. She forgave her family, not for them, but for herself, letting go of the need for their love. In New York, she found a new family, not of blood, but of respect, laughter, and shared dreams. Emma learned that love begins when you stop chasing it in others and find it within. Her journey proves that even in the darkest shadows, you can find your own light, and it's brighter than anyone else's spotlight. A new dawn in New York.